Today's my lecture is on lesson number 11, force and pressure of class 8 CBSE. This is one of the physics lesson. So first part is about force and my second lecture will be about pressure. So today we'll be seeing only about force. So you all know what is force. What is force? Force is a push or pull on an object. So you are pushing or pulling, you are applying force for a movement. That is called as force. So here the second one is direction of force. There is particular direction you are applying, that pushing or pulling or stretching or lifting or twisting, all these are related with force. So you are applying all these in particular direction. That direction is making some movement of that object. So that is called as direction of force. The third one is characteristics of force. What are the characteristics of force? Here we have due to an interaction. The second one is magnitude and third one is particular direction. So first one is due to an interaction. There should be some interaction of one object on another object for a force to act. So I will show you how it is. You have an object here. This object, just imagine if this is car and here the second object is a person. So here we have two. The first one is car and second one is a person. A man is standing there. If the engine of this car is not working, it requires the manpower by pushing the car for its starting, right? So here once there is no interaction between the first object and the second object, there is no force applied. And in the second case, if the person is touching his hand for pushing the car, so second object is having some interaction with the first object. In that case, the force is applied. So force is happened due to an interaction of an object on another object. The second one is magnitude. What is magnitude means? The strength of the force is called as magnitude. This magnitude is expressed by the unit Newton. So Newton is the SI unit of force. It is expressed only by its first letter, capital N. So Newton is the SI unit of force. That is, the strength of the force is called as magnitude. So here, how can you define 1 Newton? What is 1 Newton? 1 Newton is equal to the force which is applied to move an object having the weight of 1 kilogram to move at a particular speed of 1 meter per second. So, if you are able to move 1 kilogram weighing object to 1 meter in 1 second, that is called as 1 Newton. So here this magnitude is always related with the direction of the movement. So magnitude means the strength of the force and direction means which direction you are applying the force and making its movement. So this magnitude is always related with the direction of the force applied. So I will show you some examples for this. the direction, here I am keeping one box. It is having 10 kilogram weight. One person standing here and applying his force towards this direction for moving this box having the weight of 10 kilogram. To which direction it moves? It moves to the opposite direction. The movement always will be in opposite direction because the force is applied in left, here this side towards the opposite side. So it is moving. This is the first example. In second case, another person is standing in opposite direction. This is second person. So two people are there. One is left side, one is here. And this person is also applying one force in the opposite side. Who is standing in another direction. So here, this person, first person wants to move the box to opposite side. But this person wants to move the box in towards the first person. So, how can you decide or which direction the movement happens? It depends on who is applying more Newton or who is applying more force for its movement. For example, the first person is applying 5 Newton force. The second person is applying 8 Newton force. So, who is applying more force? Second person. So, which direction the movement happens? Here. So, the box is going to move to this direction reaching here. Because this person has applied, what is the difference between the force applied? The first person 5 Newton, second person 8 Newton. So, the difference is 8 Newton minus 5 Newton, 3 Newton extra force is applied by the second person. So, this is the second example. The third example is the first and second person are standing and both are applying 5 Newton force. So, which direction the movement happens? There is no movement because the net force or both are applying same force. The resultant force or the net force is equal to 0 Newton. 5 Newton minus 5 Newton, if it is 0, there is no movement, there is no motion. So, there is no movement. The tug of war, if both group are applying same force, there will not be any movement. Which group is applying more force to that direction, to the people, the direction of that people, the movement happens. The same way it happens. So, this is about magnitude and direction of the force. And the fourth one is effects of force. What are the effects you can tell about force? The first one is you can make the change of state of its motion. Change of state of its motion means you can make a stationary object to move. Stationary object to move. This is first effect of the force. If one thing, for example, one ball which is at rest. Rest means there is no movement or no motion. Once you kick the ball, it starts moving. So, you can make one object to move by applying a force. So, you can make one object which is under stationary to move. Second is you can make the movement of an object to stop. Once you apply force, you can make the object stops its movement. Third one is you can alter the speed of an object. You can change the speed of an object. For example, you are riding a bicycle. You can decide at what speed you are applying the force to rotate. Rotate the pedal. It makes the movement faster or slower. That is the speed. It is decided by the person who is riding the bicycle. Once you apply the brake, sudden stop happens. So you can decide the speed of the movement. Then fourth one is you can change the direction of the force applied. It makes the direction of the movement. For example, during playing cricket, once the bowler is bowling a ball, once the ball is striking the bat holding by the person who is batting. So once here, if this is the bat, if the ball is coming this direction, in which direction this person is striking or touching the ball, in that direction the ball moves. So it can decide the direction. So the force can make a stationary object to move. It can stop the movement of a object. It can change the speed of an object. It can change the direction of the movement. These are the effects of force. The last one under the effects of force is the force can change the size and shape of an object. The force can change the size and shape of an object. One example I can show you now. I have one rubber band. This is having elastic behavior. So once I stretch this rubber band, it is deforming its size and shape because of the force I have applied for the stretching process. Once I relieve the force which I have applied, come back to the original form. So this is an example for the force which can change the size and shape of an object. Next, moving to the last topic under force, types of forces. The forces are grouped into two types: contact forces and non-contact forces, which is having contact between two objects. The force which is applied is called as contact forces. If there is no contact between the objects, that force is called as non-contact forces. I made a code to remember the name of these forces. MEC, FM. MEC is coming under non-contact force. FM comes under contact force. This is non-contact force. So by the first letter you can easily remember the name of the force. What is the first one? M for magnetic force. E for electrostatic force. G for gravitational force. These three are non-contact forces, which is the force happening without contact between two objects. The next one is contact force, FM. F denotes for frictional force and M for muscular force. So first we'll see non-contact forces. What are the non-contact forces? M for magnetic. Then see, here it is E for electrostatic. And the third one is G for gravitational force. These forces are there. So first one is magnetic force. You all are familiar with the magnetic force. You have learned in lower classes. So magnetic means the force which is exerted by a magnet. So if you are doing some experiments using a magnet, the magnet is pulling some objects made up of iron or steel, cobalt, nickel. If an object is made up of any of these components, then there will be some attraction towards the magnet. So magnet is pulling the objects containing these: iron, steel, cobalt or nickel. If the object does not contain these, there is no magnetic power. It cannot pull. It cannot attract towards the magnet. The object is not at all attracted towards the magnet. That is called as magnetic power. The next one is electrostatic force. Electrostatic. The force which is applied by an object by its electrostatic power. What is electrostatic power means? This is formed if it is electrically charged. So it has to be electrically charged before coming without contact with the object. I can give you an example. Taking one comb, using this comb, you are combing your hair. So once you are combing your hair, what happens? This comb is having some contact with your hair, right? So this is giving the comb electrically charged. So it is acquiring some charge because of the interaction with the hair particles. So it is acquiring some charge. Later you are taking small pieces of paper, you are keeping on the surface and trying with this comb any attraction to these tiny or the small pieces of paper. So you can see some attraction. These papers are attracted towards the comb because of it is electrically charged by the interaction. So that is called electrostatic force. It is acquired because of the interaction happened before, right? So it is called as electrostatic force. Next is gravitational force. So you all knew the experiment which is giving gravity, right? So Isaac Newton's, the story you all are very familiar. So what was the story? The apple is attracted towards the gravity. So if earth is having gravity, it is pulling the object towards it. So this gravity which is giving the force to pull the object having mass, that is called as gravitational force. So the objects are pulling towards the gravity, towards the earth due to this gravity. So if the object is having mass only, it is attracted towards the earth because of this gravity. That force which is making the object to attract towards this gravity is called as gravitational force. So these three are, you can tell as non-contact force because there is no contact between the objects. Next is moving to the contact forces. What are the two? Fm. F denotes for frictional force, friction. What is friction means? If there is interaction or touching between two objects, if this is one object, second object is B, if there is no touching between two objects, there is no frictional force. It has to be in contact. So there is a contact between object A and B. That is creating frictional force. For example, you are riding a bicycle. Once you stop pedaling it, it stops the movement because of the frictional force created by the road surface towards the surface of your tire. So the tire is A and B is road. Here road and tire, there is interaction. This is creating a force that is called as frictional force. And next one is muscular force. You all have muscles, right? That is creating one force. So the force which is exerted by the muscles of your body, it is called as muscular force. Wherever you are using your muscles, that force is called as muscular force. So we are winding up today's lecture about force. Next video we'll be seeing about the next part called pressure. Hope you like my video. Bye.